My name is Carl Channel, and I'm working with Josh Dickens, David Bamford, and Mike Ang. And essentially, this project has to do with the show Lost. And what we're doing is mapping all these characters using augmented reality software. We're using the AR toolkit. It's calculating the dimensions on the square, and you can put in a black and white, sort of essentially a barcode, and it just maps the characters, and you're able to see lines drawn between them based on their relationships in the show. So if you look at the back of this, for example, the orange line means they're related on the crash. So you see that red line on the screen. That's a romantic connection between them. And then it triggers audio dialogue from the show based on like what kind of connection.
Looks like you've got a whole bunch of people here, so maybe you can show us some of the relationships or talk about them.
People are getting into it, you know what I mean? It's pretty, user friendly. So the more kind of like the more people involved, the better it gets. You see more connections, more lines, more audio clips are triggered. Definitely.
So I was asking you just before we got cut off by the feed, what inspired the project, and maybe also what role it serves. I'd be interested in hearing.
Sure. Yeah, initially it was for the John Mark spatial design class. So initially, Mike Ang had an augmented reality project where he tracked like a 3D labyrinth. The concept in the class was a labyrinth. And Josh's idea was to use the show Lost and map all the character connections, which forms an interesting labyrinth. It's sort of a non-linear way to look at the plot, just based on different types of connections. So we kind of just married those two projects and came up with this, which I think pretty successfully shows sort of this labyrinth-like web between all the characters. It sort of shows the complexity in a more visual way. You can see all the different connections between people. And then
what kind of responses are you getting from people at the show?
Pretty good responses so far. Some people just kind of walk up and they're like, oh, okay, cool, and they walk away. But a lot of people have been very interested. We made a bunch of business cards, and a lot of people have been asking for them. They want to email. A couple of people have already talked about maybe collaborating or using this in like maybe a business setting to like network different people at like a seminar or something like that. So people have definitely given us some good feedback. One guy gave us an idea for making a game out of it, like using these lines to form different shapes, stuff like that. Oh, that was your idea. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking to some. Never mind, that was Josh's idea. Whoops. So, sorry.
We'll see that at Found Connections 2.0 at the Spring Show.
Exactly, 2.0.